You've got to write the abstract for your thesis, and you're just like, ugh. Because abstracts are often written towards the end of your PhD journey when you are just completely sick of writing, you're feeling really fatigued, and you're like, oh my goodness, here is yet another thing I have to do. But it matters, it's important, and it's actually quite straightforward once you know how to do it. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Yardley, and I've been guiding students through writing up their PhD theses for the last 20 years. Now, in that time, I have seen some marvellous abstracts, and I've also seen some really terrible ones. In this video, I'm going to help you write one of the former variety. Here's what we're going to be covering in this video. So by the time you get to the end of it, you will know what the structure of an abstract should look like. You'll know some of the things that you should be covering, and I'm going to share some examples with you so you can start to envisage what yours might look like. Before we dive in, if you are currently thinking about writing your abstract, you are probably in the writing up stages of your thesis, and in that case you will find this helpful. This is my step-by-step guide to the writing up process, and it covers everything from the title to the appendices. It's available in my Etsy shop, and I will put a link in the description where you can go and check that out. I'm also going to put a cheeky little discount code in there too, so be sure to go and take a look at that if you are currently writing up. Anyway, back to what we're covering in this video. And firstly, why does an abstract matter? Why do you even have to write one? Well, it matters because it's the first thing, or one of the first things, that somebody reading your thesis is going to see. And when we think about who's going to be reading your thesis, well, obviously your examiner will be reading your thesis. So this is a fantastic chance to make a really good first impression, to get them excited about it, but also to demonstrate to them that you can write really powerfully, really concisely, and you can convey what they're going to read about in the rest of the thesis. So they read your abstract and they're like, oh, I can't wait to get into this. Also, readers is going to include other researchers in your field, and the abstract is a fantastic opportunity to grab their attention because, unlike your examiner, other researchers don't have to read your thesis. They are reading it because they choose to read it. So if you can put together a really compelling and powerful abstract, it's going to be really helpful in terms of making other people aware of what you're doing. You want other researchers to read your work and to think it's great and to get in touch with you and ask you to speak at their conference and all of that nice stuff. So it is really important to get it right. And readers also encompasses people outside of academia, people in government, in policy, in particular professions, people who are searching for academic research on the particular issue that you've been researching. So they will go to places like Google Scholar, they will look at subject repositories for research around the thing that you've been looking at. And when they come across your piece of work, the first thing they're going to read, which they're going to use to judge whether they should read the rest of it, is the abstract. So massively important. Next up, what are the essential things that you should be including in your abstract? Well, let's take a look at them. Your clear, concise and engaging abstract should include the research problem or question, your methodology and approach, your key findings, and your conclusions and implications. But how do you put that all together? Well, I think there are four main parts to an abstract, and we're going to have a look at each of them now. The first part should include an opener and your research problem or question. So you need a compelling opening sentence to grab the reader's attention, and then you need to follow that up with a concise statement of your research problem or question. Let's take a look at an example. So we can see that the first half of the first sentence sets the context. It tells us what's going on in the world, and that is the widespread proliferation of social media. The second half of that sentence covers what the thesis looks at within this context, so specifically political engagement in this context. Then we have some further information about the interrelationship between social media and political engagement, which leads into the need for the study and the research question. So this is a really nice, compelling but concise opener and statement of the research problem or question. So if you write something like this, you have got your abstract off to a fantastic start. Next up, methodology and findings. Here you need to describe your research methodology and summarise your key findings. So essentially you're saying, here's what I did, here's what I found. Let's take a look at the example. So we can see here that the researcher is telling the reader how they did it, what their findings were, And then they are commenting and interpreting, and they're referring to the established concepts within the literature. So we can see what the findings were being covered in this section. Then in this section, it's more about what that shows, what the ramifications of that are. And you'll see that the researcher has referred to a key concept in the field here, the digital divide. Next, we need to convey the implications of the research. So let's look at the example. Here, we're zooming out further. We've already written about what we found and what that shows, but now we're looking at the broader context. We've already covered the within academia implications in the section before. So here we're thinking more widely, and we're identifying beneficiaries of the research who are outside of the academic world. So this researcher is identifying policymakers, activists, and citizens. Think about the key stakeholders for your research, because you'll need to write about them in this section. And lastly, the conclusion. So cue the example. We wrap it all up by coming back to the key contributions the thesis has made, and by making a bridge between this piece of research and future developments in the area. So we can see from this very nice, concise conclusion that the researcher is talking about what this research contributes towards, what it highlights and what it emphasises, and what we should be thinking about moving forward. So having done this research, what does our focus need to be on now? Now, before you run off to go and write up your abstract, just stay with me for a moment, because I want to give you some tips. Firstly, make sure you write your abstract after you have completed your entire thesis, like after you have finished all of it and there's nothing left to do. If you've still got sections of your thesis to write or entire chapters to write, please do not start working on your abstract yet, because if you write it up now, that might not reflect what your thesis ends up looking like. There might be things that you add and things that you change, and there's a bit of a mismatch between the abstract and the thesis itself. And you don't want your examiner to read your abstract and then go, oh, this research isn't about that, it's actually about this other thing. So you've got to make sure that those two things are consistent. So please make sure it is one of the last things that you do. Remember that your abstract is about clarity and simplicity, so don't include too much detail in it, because you've got like an 80,000 word thesis for the detail. You don't need to put the detail in the abstract. Use clear and straightforward sentences, just get to the point. And if you're somebody who has a tendency to waffle and to ramble and to just write far too many words, you might want to check out this video up here, which is going to give you some help in terms of writing a bit more concisely. When you're putting your abstract together, make sure that you refer back to your aims and objectives, because they're going to be helpful for you when you're feeling a bit lost for words, which can tend to happen at this stage of the writing up process. So revisit your aims and objectives, because they will be really, really useful in kind of getting your words going. And if you think your aims and objectives need a little bit of work, check out this video up here. Also, realise that writing your abstract might take a few attempts. You'll have to revise it, you'll have to refine it. And I'd say don't do this completely on your own. Make sure that you ask your supervisor for a bit of help with it. So revise it, refine it, and accept that it might take you 2 or 3 attempts to get it right. And also make sure that you adhere to the specified word limit. So for most PhD theses, it's around about 250 words for the abstract. But please do ensure that you check your university or your college regulations with regards to that, because you don't want to be writing a massively long abstract when you've got to keep it to like 200 words. You don't want to be writing a really tiny abstract when you've got a bit more room. So please do make sure that you are using the word count guidelines from your institution. So there you have it, how to write your PhD abstract. In this video, we've looked at why the abstract matters, and we've looked at the 4 things that you should be including in your abstract. So firstly, the opener and the concise statement of the research problem or question. Secondly, methodology and findings. Thirdly, the implications of your research. And lastly, the conclusion. If you're currently writing up your thesis and you feel like you need some help with that, be sure to check out the step-by-step guide that I mentioned earlier. The details are in the description. I'll be back in the next video with more tips, advice and guidance on how to navigate the messy and the magical seasons of PhD life. I'll see you then.